sure that we can show you guys all the really cool combat, some of the magic as well that we're going on. So really what this game is, it takes place 30 years before the main game. And as you can see, we have this really cool kind of retro feel from a combat perspective. There's tons of combos you can do, aerial combos, juggle people. And so we've taken that whole kind of old school retro vibe and just given its own kind of unique spin on it. And we've tried to really make it unique in the fact that it's not just kind of a hack and slash. You're not just mashing buttons. There are certain enemies that will parry attacks, will block attacks. So you really actually have to be strategic on some of these things. And it's definitely not easy, but as you can see, we're getting this kind of old school vibe. And so, for instance, this is like a stronger Ronin that we're fighting right now. So they're blocking my regular attacks. So you need to know how which attacks to use against certain enemies, which combos work best. But then there's magic, there's summons, a whole ton of things in here.
So what systems is this available on?
It's gonna be PS4 and Xbox One.
Awesome. Very cool. So
did you just throw that guy?
Yeah.
Into another guy?
So that's one of the aerial attacks. It's really cool. Let me see if I can try to do this again. Oh no!
So sorry, who is the character you're playing as?
So the character you're playing is actually a really young King Regis.
Okay. So the father of the main character in Final Fantasy.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what we decided to do, we wanted to give it just a really kind of fun vibe. That it takes place as a story tale. So the way this whole game begins is it's an older King Regis, which you're going to see in the talking heads there, just giving a bedtime story to his son, Noctis, when he's younger. And Noctis saying, look, I've heard all your boring stories. I don't want to do it all over again. Tell me something new. Like, tell me something cool. Maybe something you did like 30 years ago. So this is kind of an homage to the main game, where now we get to see King Regis, battling a whole horde of enemies with his group of people that you're going to see later on.
Now, is it a true story, or is he making stuff up?
He's kind of making stuff up.
Okay.
And we have some really kind of fun banter between the young Noctis and the older Regis later on, of just them kind of making fun of like, are you sure that really happened? Yeah.
So, all right, so you're playing through here. We saw earlier in a trailer that there's companions that play with you.
And so if we can get maybe far enough into it, so there's companion attacks. There's also summons you can do as well, and then also magic attacks. So again, we tried to keep all the core elements that are within Final Fantasy 15 and kind of ported them to this old school retro vibe.
Yeah, very cool.
And then we also, we brought in all the classic enemies. So you're going to see Cactuar, you're going to see Flans, you're going to see Marlboros, kind of in their own 16-bit vibe that you used to see, back in the day with all the other Final Fantasies of the world.
Bombs also in there?
Yeah, bombs are also in there, yes.
So
we'll
summons, I'm assuming?
Summons are in there,
What summons are we talking about?
I don't want to give too much away. I'll tell you, so there's more than a couple.
More than a couple.
More than a couple. So Titan is in there. Who else should I say? Well, Leviathan's in there as well, and then there's at least one more.
Very cool.
And then you got this basically the entire game itself. You don't really know who the enemy is, but we've given subtle hints throughout the story and some. If you're a hardcore,
is it Sephiroth?
Okay, I will say it's not Sephiroth. Oh man, I'm getting crushed here. It is not Sephiroth, but if for the hardcore fans out there, just in the narration that we give subtle hints as far as who it is. So it'll be fun to see if you guys kind of talk on the Twitter sphere, if you guys can figure out who it is.
Very cool.
Oh, there's a bomb. There we go. All right, so the bomb thing is really cool in that. So obviously in the main game, whenever you attack bombs, they kind of grow over time, right? And then they can explode on your entire party. What we've done here is the same thing. So the more you attack it, it grows. But then what you can also do is kind of use it to your benefit, where if you attack it, you can actually throw the bomb into one of the enemies, and so use it against themselves.
Gotcha.
So length of gameplay, Mark. How long is this game?
Length of gameplay is about 2 to 5 hours.
Okay.
And then we also are going to have like a challenge mode. So the challenge mode is going to be things like destroy 30 bombs within 20 seconds, or
cool.
Kill all these enemies only using magic.
I like that this is a actual full release game on console, where it's like not. This is very well could have been a mobile game where people just whatever, but it's like being able to have the controls. And I saw all the control maps come up and stuff, the combos and all that. It looks very fun, very interesting.
And it's definitely, we tried to add a lot of variety in combat. The developers on this game really did a really, killer job on this, where they tried to take elements even from modern gaming. So a lot of the kind of more action fighting games that you've seen